Hey guys, this is Jenn and Julien, and you're listening to X Appeal Season 2, Episode 7.
So this morning, if I'm still, which by the way, I know that this is not like highlighter on my, I know that it looks like I'm glowing, but it's because I went and did some hot yoga. I've been on that train now.
So you've been sweating?
Yogi again. Julien?
Yeah.
I'm going to have that yoga body pretty soon.
Are you keeping up with the squats though? Because it's the squats and the weightlifting that keeps the body tight.
I mean, I know, but like, so this class I do is called a sweat yoga chisel, which you use like weights and you do squats and you do lunges in like 100-degree room.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound like fun?
It sounds terrible.
Yeah.
It sounds
good
terrible.
Workout.
I will say though, I prefer the way you look like this without your fake eyelashes. I'm so glad you took them off.
I ripped them off because the glue was gluing my eyelids together. So why do you prefer this? Why do you?
I don't know. I don't understand why some of you ladies prefer long ass fake eyelashes that we could see from a mile away. It's honestly not.
It's not about you. It's not about you guys.
I know it's not.
About us. And it's about us and how we feel with our eyelashes on, with long eyelashes.
I get it. I know. It has nothing to do, but I'm still sharing my point of view. I don't get it.
So, do you watch The Real Housewives?
No, I do not.
Have you seen a single episode of Real Housewives?
Never, because I just watched like usually Netflix, HBO, all that stuff. The only reality show that I watched lately, and that's the only one I've pretty much watched, is the one we talked about, like the Love is Blind and the Ultimatum. These are the only two that I've watched.
So as far as like reality shows go.
Yeah. Oh, and then I watched UFC, of course. I watched the
that doesn't count as anything. That's a sport. You watch sports.
No, but it's a reality show.
UFC?
Yeah, the UFC, they have what's the name of it? They have the Ultimate Fighter. That's an actual reality show where 10 fighters lives in a house, and then at the end of the season, one of them wins, and it's going to be actually in the UFC. Okay,
so kind of consider Real Housewives as the Ultimate Fighter.
Don't even put Real Housewives in the same.
Only instead of throwing punches, they're throwing wine glasses, and they're tipping over tables, and they're throwing shoes at each other. Okay. So that's the best way that I can describe Real Housewives. There are many cities. There's now a Real Housewives Dubai that they're adding, which makes me want to move to Dubai, frankly. And it is a monstrously successful franchise.
Yeah.
And we have two ladies who have their own podcast on iHeartRadio. They're about to come on, Tamra Judge and Teddi Mellencamp. Teddi Mellencamp was on Beverly Hills Housewives, and Tamra Judge was on Real Housewives of Orange County. Do you understand now? So Teddi Mellencamp, by the way, if the last name Mellencamp rings a bell, strikes a chord for you. Yeah. She is the daughter of John Mellencamp.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, fuck, I forgot you're French. Oh my God. So you wouldn't know.
No.
So John Mellencamp is like, he's a big musician.
Oh, okay.
Big rock star. He's a rock star.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let's bring them on.
They are the hosts of the now most listened to Real Housewives podcast, 2 T's in a Pod, Teddi Mellencamp and Tamra Judge. Yay.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, Jen, do you have your mic?
What?
So your mic?
What do you mean?
Where's your mic?
I can't use my mic. I can't use my mic because my roadcaster took a dip in water. So.
You actually put it in the water?
I didn't put it. I didn't do it on purpose.
The water got spilled on it?
I can't tell you guys are exes at all.
Like literally, I was juggling Ethan on one arm, and then the roadcaster was in another arm, the whole box, and water spilled everywhere, and that's what happened. So I think it's fried.
Really?
We're gonna have to do this for now.
Okay.
I know you're like anal retentive about your zooming and your
audio
gonna be good.
One of us have to be.
So funny.
I'm like the annoying's like, that's not how you're supposed to use it. You're supposed to have this on and this on and this on. And she's
Tam,
like, it's
don't
fine.
give me the look as he's saying this because you know I'm the same way.
You're the same way?
I am the world's most type A retentive. Like it's
called a control freak.
But then you take advantage of it, Tam, because then you
I do.
I got to send me a text like, what's the link? Oh, as if I don't. And poor little
yeah, but you live for this shit. You live for controlling.
Teddy, maybe you and I create our own podcast, and it's called The Perfectionists. The Perfectionists.
No, you guys would
podcast.
kill each other. That's why Teddy and I work so well together, is because she's so.
My husband's the complete opposite too. He's like he'll book his flight the day of, shows up 10 minutes before the plane leaves. I'm like there 2 hours early with my bag, like.
I mean, honestly, there's a niche for that where it's a podcast where all we do is explain how you're supposed to do things the right way.
How we micromanage.
Oh, yeah.
How to do things the right way.
We'll call it the know-it-alls.
Yeah, exactly.
The know-it-alls.
That's it. The know-it-alls. Yeah.
The know-it-alls.
How early do you pack for a vacation, Teddy?
Oh, like a week. But I'll be like shopping. I have all the things prepped.
Oh,
I mean, it is. And especially if it's kids as well, because then
you have to
fit into a certain amount of bags and I need to make sure. And then honestly, I will be in the Uber ready to go with the kids to the airport and I'll see my husband getting his bag out of the garage. And I'm like, okay, you're actually dead to me.
Yeah.
Like,
that would be stressful.
That's so stressful. I don't know how. I don't know how he lives like that. Julien is so outnumbered right now. You're definitely in trouble.
Listen. I can handle my own. I can handle my own.
We'll see. This is outnumbered with Julien Tamani. I'm big fans of both of you on your podcast. The honesty, the spiciness. I mean, I think the last time I talked to you ladies was on the red carpet for iHeart Awards, and you were a riot. So tell me who we can thank for the magic that is Two Teas in a Pod.
Well, I mean, I hate to toot my own horn, but I had been doing a podcast for a while for iHeart. And when I was no longer a housewife, we can call it whatever it is, I was allowed to talk about housewives again. However, I said, I don't want to. I'm not interested about talking about housewives. And they're like, just on me about it. They're like, please, please, please. And I was like, listen, the only way that I'll talk about housewives is if I can have a co-host and I can pick who it is. And
the biggest asshole housewife. She picks.
and they're like pitching me everybody. They're like, Tinsley, they wanted somebody with a T. I'm like, I need Tamra Judge. And that's it. So if we can get Tamra.
Why Tamra?
Because one, I knew that we're enough alike that like we would work well together, but enough different that we're not always going to agree. And Tamara's not scared to say anything, and I'm not scared to say anything. And that's what we need in order to be a good show.
So Julien has never watched. Have you ever watched Housewives, Julien?
No.
Okay. So can you kind of like explain to him what the show is all about?
It's a bunch of girls getting together and fighting. End of story. That's it. That's all you need to know.
But there's different cities, like there's different, like it's a whole there's multiple seasons.
Yeah. So I started on the original franchise in Orange County. Was on it for 12 years. I've been off it for 2 now. Mm-hmm. And now, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many franchises they have from us, went to New York and then Atlanta.
But the original was Orange County?
Yes.
And was it like Housewives of OC or was it just the Housewives?
Yep. They're all called Real Housewives.
Real Housewives. Okay. I didn't know that was the first one.
Yep.
Oh, talk to Vicki Gunvalson. She'll let you know.
She owns that show.
She is the official OG of the OC.
OG of the OC. That's
and so how do they pick you? What's the criteria?
I think on accident. I'm not sure. Back then, it was so brand new. There was no other franchises. It was basically documenting girls' lives. There was no fighting. I'm known to have changed the housewife franchise forever. I was the first one to call somebody out, fight on camera. Prior to that, it was a lot of girls going to lunch and going to play tennis. And it was really a snooze fest. And then they brought me on.
She has opinion.
Yeah, I just didn't care what I said. I called people out, and it was something I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
And then before I know it, like there's franchises popping up all over, and people are throwing wine and tipping tables.
But was there a specific type of like, because what differentiates one housewives that makes it on show and the other one, was there like a specific income level? Could it be anybody? Like, was there?
Depends on the franchise.
Yeah, back then it wasn't really so much about money. I mean, there was a lot of girls on the show that had nice houses, but there were some girls that were just getting divorced and didn't have a pot to piss in. So okay. for me, I was married at the time, 3 kids. I lived in a gated community, big house, all that, and then from there it kind of like it elevated, like the wealth elevated throughout.
Yeah, because I've never heard of a show called The Poor Housewives of Campton.
But I think that might be a good one.
I think it would be a good one. But I mean, in my situation was completely different. Like I went through a casting process.
You went through casting.
Yeah. And before they even put me on the show, they had to see what my house looked like. I had to look as though, I had a certain amount of money because I was on Beverly Hills, and Beverly Hills is all about lifestyle. Yeah. And so it really just depends where you are.
Every franchise is different. Like Beverly Hills is definitely a lifestyle. You're going to see a lot of money over there. Orange County is more a little bit laid back.
Okay.
And then, New York is very like socialite, and,
New York, no one's even married. It's called The Real Housewives. And I don't think one of them was married.
I don't think so either. I don't think one's married.
Right. I was always confused by that. I'm like, how can you call yourself a housewife when you don't even have a husband?
Well, they all start off married and they end up getting divorced.
Yeah. So by the way, like what has being on that show, what has it done for your relationships? Because you're really
I was about to ask that question. Yeah.
I got divorced. So I was probably one of the first ones to scream, I want a divorce, and followed through with it on camera. And then
Wait, did you announce it to your husband on camera?
Yes.
That happened in real time. So you were like,
yeah, like I wasn't expecting it. It was just, we were on the way out. It was really bad. We had a bad marriage when we started the show. So if you ever, if you're on a rocky foundation when you start, you're not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I've been married to Eddie, and we got married. We had a spinoff show. We're going on 12 years together. So, and the show never really, he got annoyed by it once in a while. He wasn't really into it.
Yeah.
He would film for me, but it wasn't like some of these guys that get so into the show, like the guys in New Jersey. But then again, there was never any guys on our cast that were worthy of him hanging out with.
But how did he react about you? Because I feel like maybe he could have been like, why did you have to do it on camera? We could have had this moment off camera. Like we could have talked about.
We did.
Off camera.
We did.
So you talked about it prior and then you said it on camera.
Yeah, we kind of knew that we were going to get divorced. It was not going in the right direction. The last season, he didn't really want to do the last season because he knew that things were bad. We went up and did it. And then we just got into one of our huge fights. And I'm like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I want a divorce. And
was it ever like when you thought to yourself, like the whole country seeing this, like, was it ever too much for you? Like, oh shit, I'm like really putting myself out there.
I was in such a bad place in my marriage, and he was so controlling and did not treat me very well. So it was something that the more independence I got from being on the show, the more freedom I felt internally. And then it just got to the point where this is not how life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I can't, it wasn't like I was in this great marriage and I'm like, okay, I'm on TV now. I don't want a husband. Let me see what I can do. No,
it's not showing real life. Like how many other women can say the same thing or men for that matter? I'm sure you had like a lot of people reach out to you afterward and say, listen, same, Well,
yeah. And then it, suddenly turned into the worst divorce out there. He did dirty things to me. He got in good with a guy in the press, a bottom feeder. He was feeding him stories. He was telling him court dates. He tried to take the kids away, wrote all these like fake declarations that he knew would go public. I was labeled as monster mom. None of it was true. When we went to court, he put me through the ringer.
Yeah. That's
so like, do you have any editorial control over what goes out on Housewives? Like the end products? That I would not be okay with that. I would be like,
In fact, the more you complain or say something about it, they're like, yeah, like, yes, this is going to be good. She doesn't want it out there. I mean, they'll be sensitive to certain things, but normally no.
The housewife rule is if you talk about something more than one time, it's a storyline.
Yeah.
So if something is, in passing and you act like it doesn't bother you, like there was something that's, somebody says to you and it pisses you off, but you're like, then it's probably not going to be a storyline. But if you're like, what are you talking? If you're defensive, then all of a sudden it's done. And like
reaction, the more of a guarantee it's going to be to make air.
Correct.
Yeah. And the producers tell you that, like, don't talk about it. If it bugs you, don't talk about it. And we don't have nothing to show.
Yeah, but are you contractually obligated to show the change in your relationship? So like you, for example, and your ex-husband getting a divorce, were you contractually obligated to show it on camera as well, to explain it to everybody who's watching what is happening in your relationship? Like I did a reality show 6 years ago where people came and it was a dating show. People came and date me, and it was like, if it was in France, and it was like, if something were to happen with one of the girls, it had to be previously shown on camera. So it's like, if we were going to kiss, the first kiss had to be on camera so that they can explain the storyline and how come we got so close all of a sudden. Was that the same?
I think that they prefer that you do that, but if it's really something you don't want to show, then you just don't bring it to light. But it's kind of hard not to, because the cameras are on you. So, I mean, not all the time, but a lot.
Yeah.
Plus producers have a lot of like they can make a decision on a couple. So if they notice like something about a husband or a wife that feels a little off, even if the couple doesn't feel that tension, then it's going to show. So like my first season, I didn't even realize it, but they were filming me with Edwin and I was nagging him a lot. Like I was like, just kind of always on his ass. Yeah. And I didn't realize it because it was kind of our normal. We've been together forever. And I was like, and then I watched it back and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to like chill a little bit on nagging him because I didn't even see that in myself. And I had to apologize to him and be like, there are certain things that I'm going to continue nagging you about because you need it. But there are certain things like I need to take a real hard look at myself and be like, why am I doing this to you?
So in a weird way, it's like holding a mirror up to your relationship and maybe like your behavior.
Yeah. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. Seeing things that you might not have noticed before. It's like therapy, kind of. I mean, a little bit. Yeah,
for sure.
In a twisted, fucked up kind of way.
Yeah. But then it also seems like production, like you said, they're going to like push on something if it bothers you. So you might also be, as a talent, like you might, if something really bothers you, but you don't want it out there and you don't want it to make a big thing, you might also now not be motivated to just keep it inside and not expose anymore. To be like,
but the camera doesn't lie. So like, for example, if you want to cry, if somebody hurts you to your core, like something's upsetting you, you all of a sudden will feel this camera that is honestly 8 inches from your face.
And then you're like, don't cry.
I personally couldn't. I could not control that emotion and be like, nope, pretend this doesn't bother, because all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, there's Pablo breathing down my throat. Like they know you so well that you really can't hide your emotion.
Did you feel in that moment, like more compelled to cry because there was a camera in your face? Because I would feel like my first instinct would be like, I don't want anyone to see me cry. Like
for me, nobody wants to eat or cry on camera. It never looks pretty.
True.
But also once somebody says, like, I remember my biggest cry that I ever had on the show, I was about to cry. My husband doesn't even look up because he's like, he could tell I'm about to cry by my voice. It's like, oh, and so he's just eating a salad. I feel the camera come in, which they mean like they know. And then one of the housewives who I wasn't getting along with looked at me and goes, Teddi, don't do this. You're fine. You're fine. And then the second that they gave me that, like, you're fine, I broke down. Like I was like, lost it, because there's that like vulnerability aspect to it that you like just can't keep it together. At least for me. And I mean, Tam was like one time in the bushes. There's things that happen to all of us.
That was alcohol.
How many months a year do you guys film?
3 to 4.
3 to 4. Okay. So they only get a glimpse of 3 to 4 months of your life. Probably.
But yes, but then I think it really is like a full-time job, because then you have press and then you have the reunion, and then you have interviews that are constant. So like, even though when you're doing your, original casting process, they're like, oh, it's 3 to 4 months, but then really it's like 9 months.
Yeah. They would have us busy like 10 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Damn.
Do the producers like if there's going to be like a dramatic moment or a moment where you get into a fight, do the producers kind of warn you ahead of time, like for that week, like, listen, here's, because they do that on The Bachelor.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. I was friends with somebody who was on Bachelor in Paradise, and he said, listen, like there's going to be an argument that gets really shown in this episode. I just want to let you know, just so you're prepared. So it might just be because like you're going to get some.
Oh, you mean before it airs?
Before it airs. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant before it's happened.
No, but there was a rule that changed, which is no longer a rule, but the rule that we used to have on Beverly Hills, I don't know if the same was for OC, but you could only get the episode in advance if you promised you were going to blog about it.
Yeah.
So blogging is where we got in most of our trouble, because that's where we got to say our point of view. So
that's
after
so funny. I was thinking about that today. Why?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden everyone just stopped doing it, and we still got episodes, but I still blogged because I was like, no, I need my, I need my point.
I know, but the blogging was so toxic. Like, I can't remember how many fights would come out of those blogs because people can go on there and say pretty much whatever they want. They didn't really monitor them that well. So they would go and just trash your character in this blog. And then they would have it open to
comments
to people for comments. And there'd be comments in there like, you're gross, you have herpes, and things like that. Like, and you're like, dude, like, I'm not going to blog if you can't monitor these comments better.
Yeah. And then before the reunion, so they'll do that. You'll get the episode about a day or two before it airs. So you're like panicking, waiting for it to air, overthinking everything. But then right before the reunion, the season's still not done. And you'll get like 5 episodes that you'll have to watch the night before the reunion. That's why people come into the reunion hot, because you think you've made up with people. And then you're watching the confessionals the night before, and you're like, oh, we're actually not cool. We have, and you know what is coming. And then that's where the gloves come.
A good example of that is Salt Lake City. They didn't know that Lisa had said those horrible things about Meredith, and they found out the night before they went to the reunion. And it changed the entire dynamic.
I mean, Housewives fans, just like Bachelor fans, can get nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's because I have a very fragile ego. Like if I see one negative comment, it like haunts me all day long. And I hate to say that, but it's true. What about you guys? I mean, I know that, do you read the blogs? Like, do you read the comments sometimes?
I don't so much. I used to get bothered by it. And I used to, these are back in the day before Instagram, when they had like MySpace and Facebook was big. And the comments back then were really bad. And I think I learned my lesson way back then because I was always trying to explain myself to the mean ones, and the nice ones I would ignore. So I'm like, what am I doing? So now on Instagram, I don't know. I take it with a grain of salt. I just feel like if it's really nasty, I'll either restrict them or block them. But it doesn't really bother me anymore.
Yeah, if you don't see it, it doesn't. Well, Teddi, you just got.
I don't get a lot of hate though.
You don't get a lot of hate?
No, I did back in the day when, filming, because you're only as good as that week's episode. And if you did something stupid, then people were so mean. In the past 2 years, because I haven't been on the show, I'll get my random mean one, but most of them aren't too bad. But Ultimate Girls Trip is about to air, so I'm preparing myself for the mean comments.
I still get a lot. I get a ton.
You got the neck lift, and who cares? Like, do you good for you?
Well, it wasn't.
What are people saying?
Well, people were just saying, I guess there was a paparazzi shot with me and the kids, and I had on the thing, and I was like, listen, I had to be honest for who I am and blah, blah. None of that bothered me really at all. There are points in time where like both episodes of Beverly Hills this season, I'm not even on the show, and I've trended on Twitter because people have just wanted to and so I don't even read the comments because I know they're bad. I know they're just like people, because for whatever reason, I'm polarizing to certain people. But then I'll just make a joke of it on my Instagram. I'm like, thanks guys, trending again, not even on the show, because I have to laugh at myself, because if not, I would cry.
I mean, but here's the thing. People are talking about you. So how can that in any way be super, super negative or super bad? Because you're in the conversation. If you weren't in the conversation and no one gave a shit about you, like, that's even worse to me.
Yeah. I mean, right? I think what ends up happening though, especially as housewives, most people, there's a big transition. So like my first season, I couldn't have been more loved. Like people were so nice and kind and loving. And then I did something my second season, and you have never seen a switch like that. And the hate just comes in like an unbelievable amount. And so you're just like shocked by it. You're like, what? I'm still the same person. You just saw this, one little thing. And I think that happens to a lot of us, where one season you're loved, the next season you're hated, and then it may go back to loved. It just really, depends on what's going on.
So what you're saying, the moral of the story is we need to get you another season.
No, I want a different show. I don't want to be on that show.
You would want like a different franchise or different city?
No, I would want to not be on Real Housewives. I would want to be on a different television show in general. I have to
spinoff.
I mean, I feel like Tam and I need to have a show recapping all the shows. That's not just our podcast. Like, we need to have an actual video version, because so many people are asking for that.
Yeah. Put it like on one of the streaming services, right?
Yeah.
So Housewives airs on Bravo. Is
Peacock.
that linked up to any streamer? I don't know.
It's Peacock.
Wait, was there
Oh, okay.
Peacock.
Was there any moment where you looked at the episode and you was like, damn, they did us dirty? That is not how it happened.
Yep.
That is not how it happened.
You first, Tam.
I mean, in 12 years, of course, it's happened like a bazillion times to me.
Yeah.
Or you make a comment about somebody and, they use it for somebody else that you're actually getting along with. And I'm like, and that's when I call and go, come on, guys, this is bullshit. Like I didn't, and I've had them remove it. I'm like, I didn't say that about Shannon. Like, that is such bullshit.
Yeah.
And because it makes me look bad, because she was one of my friends. But I think one of the worst ones that hurt me is when it was in the very beginning, when I had my kids on the show and they were really little, and they shut a door. My daughter was in her bedroom. You see the door shut and you hear me go, shut up, as if I was yelling at my daughter. And she was 2. And I was literally like, that was my first experience. And I literally called crying to Kathleen French, who worked for the production company at the time. And she didn't have a whole lot of sympathy for me.
Yeah, she's like, you signed the papers. She's like, you signed the papers. We do what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's also why a lot of these shows have like glasses you can't see through, right? So people cannot tell about like the continuation of a conversation. Right, because if you have a glass of water and you're drinking, and then the water is full and the water is empty, and then it's back to full again, they're like, people can make it up. Like, oh, that's like twisted.
Yeah, but
they're don't pay attention like that.
Yeah. But they're very particular on Housewives. Like, if you go to do a confessional and your nails don't match the last confessional, they'll be like, you need to get your manicurist here right now and change your nail color, because at least on Beverly Hills, they're like, absolutely not. We can tell the difference.
So then, so people can tell that it's the different day.
So basically when we do our confessionals, we have to wear the same outfit 3 times.
Yeah.
And they weren't that strict with us as far as nails, but definitely like hair, makeup, outfit, all had to match.
But something people always ask, like, well, do you think that is it scripted, is it edited, or any of those things? And I was like, no, because these are things that are happening. But for example, for me, the biggest drama was that I lied that in the world of housewives, because I eliminated information, is what it looks like. There's a housewife that prints out all of these text messages and she's trying to out me. However, on the show, I had actually shown all the text messages already. So for me, it was so frustrating, because I'm like, we filmed this. We filmed me scrolling on my phone, showing the text messages. Call me anything but a liar. Like, I may be an asshole for sure, but I'm not a liar. So please. And they were like, nah, that scene wasn't very good. That scene, I was like, well, that scene ruined me.
Yep. I've had that happen too.
Do the producers kind of like put you in situations where they know there's going to be some conflict?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
But I think the biggest thing is the producers become your best friends. Like, not your best friends in the world.
That's because
like,
they're smart. They've all gone to psychology. They all graduated.
The devil works hard.
University of Psychology.
Yeah.
Know how your mind works and tries to manipulate you.
But you trust them. And then when you're, especially like on a trip, you can't really, like you're stuck. And so you really talk to them and you tell them what you're going through. And then they'll say, well, you have the choice. I mean, don't tell me, tell them. Mm-hmm. Or you can talk about it, or tell your friend about it. So you can make the choice. Am I going to say it to someone's face, or am I going to talk about it behind their back? Most of the time I did it to people's faces, which caused more problems.
I have actually a funny story about a producer we had. He only lasted 1 year. He's like, I have a wife. I don't need 5 fucking other women telling me what to do. He literally, we were in Whistler, I think. And it was, I don't know if you remember, but Lori was saying that she had multiple partners. Do you remember that? And Vicky was screaming, I did not have multiple partners. And so she got the poor producer in the lobby of the hotel. And she's yelling at him and she's got him against the wall. And she's like, this is bullshit. You can't do this to me. I have never had multiple partners and you're making me look like a slut. And so she starts screaming in the lobby. How would you like it if I said you fuck monkeys? So she starts screaming in this fancy hotel, Kevin Lee fucks monkeys. Kevin Lee fucks monkeys. And he's like, shut up.
I know how it feels.
She's like, now you know how it feels. Don't say I did something I didn't do. And he quit.
And the cell phones were out, like capturing everything.
Wow.
Yeah. So after that, we sent him pictures of sexy monkeys all the time with makeup on.
I love that. The only, I guess, personal experience that I've ever had with anything Housewives would be I dated Caroline Manzo's son.
Which one?
For a while. Albie. And Albie is like the sweetest.
He is sweet.
He is the sweetest guy. And we only had one like big fight, and it was the only time in my life where I ever actually threw a glass in someone's face, like threw like a drink in someone's face. I'm like, what is it about?
Oh, you're a perfect housewife.
I'm like, that's a quintessential housewife move. I'm like, and I can't believe it was with you.
Well, Caroline Manzo's all in the press right now because she said she wants to come back on and
they pretty much
go
after Teresa, take Teresa down. I'm like, oh.
Well, I know that. Yeah, I mean, I know that there's definitely bad blood between them because like Teresa's been accused by Caroline of like leaking shit to the press. I think a lot. And they had their own spinoff, and that was when I dated Albie. Was when they had like Married to Manzo's or what? Something Manzo.
See it. But now I need to Google Albie. I'm like, hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah, no, he's really
he's adorable.
He's adorable. Adorable.
Just like a nice guy.
I have a little side note. What's the appropriate answer for a man if we get a drink thrown at us?
He did something that was like so out of a movie. Because I saw white, like I was just like livid. I've never been in that position before.
Where were you? Set up the scene.
We were at a bar in Jersey, and it was like the two of us. He was sitting next to me on a couch, and he said something to me about being a gold digger, and that is like a very heavily triggering thing for me to hear because. Okay. First of all, fucking not me at all in any way. I came up.
Yeah, you work hard.
I don't need anybody like money to make me happy. So when he called me that, I felt like rage. And I literally took I had a vodka soda right next to me, a full glass too. It was a full glass. And I just dumped it over his head.
So it wasn't this move. It was this move.
It was this move. Yeah. And I got up and I walked out, and apparently he just sat there like in it for like a couple of minutes while everybody else around him, they were just like looking like in shock. And he turned to the bartender and he was like, check, please. And everybody started laughing. And he was like, it was the best moment of my life. He was like, I was a baller.
Wait, did you break up after that? Or did you get back together?
No, God, we broke up like a million times and got back together.
Well, that is the first sign. Multiple breakups, it's just not gonna.
It wasn't meant to be. No.
But hey, if somebody does that to me, I am throwing a bucket back, just so you know. Because we switched from words, conversation, insults to basically physicalness. So you're getting something back. You're not getting a punch, but you're getting something back. You're getting peanuts.
You guys, but the problem is you have like, if you were to do something back,
now we're assaulted.
You're going to prison.
I know.
Just make sure. Okay,
I got so this. Unfair.
I got this down because I've thrown a drink of red wine in a housewife's face.
But you did it to another woman.
Yeah, but just make sure there's no ice in there because that's a deadly weapon.
There you go.
Ooh,
so if you had ice in your drink, you threw it. Right.
Yeah, you can't.
But if it's just wine, you're good.
Yeah,
but like you're saying,
spitting is assault. Also, just so you guys know.
I don't think there's anything worse, like more insulting than that, than spitting in someone's
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah, I got spat on once.
Spot by a girl or a guy?
Is that the past tense of spit? Spat?
I think
right?
So. It is funny.
Yeah, you see, I speak proper English. Yeah, I got spat on when I was working this club, this door. This dude wasn't happy I didn't let him in, so he spat on me and ran away. And I chased him.
It was a dude?
Yeah, it got in my eye too. I had to like clean my eye. Yeah. But hey, I caught him down the street, so we had.
You went after him.
Yeah, I went after him. So by me doing that, I actually became the assault too. I'm the one who was assaulting him because I chased him down.
Yeah.
The cops were involved and all that stuff.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
What does this say about me that no one's going to drink in my face? No one spit on me. No, I haven't thrown water. I mean, I haven't done any of these things. And
apparently you're a liar. So it seems like
one would think it would happen.
White line.
It's like you said, Teddy, it's crazy. Like exactly what you said. Like it's technically okay. And this is stuff that we always get on this podcast with Jen. It's about like, oh, it's okay for a girl to do this, but it's not okay if a guy does it, right? And then vice versa. We explore all these like double standards. But like you said, like if she throws a glass, it's technically okay. But if a guy does it, ooh, he's in trouble.
Any other questions that you have for them, Julien?
No, I mean, I'm glad I got to know a bit more about the behind the scenes. I'm more interested about like, I'm pretty sure that if I watched the show, I would see something different on TV than who we were talking to. I'm sure there'd be similarities, but I'm convinced that obviously production kind of do whatever they want.
I think that can be said for any reality show, though.
Yeah.
We'll see. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
I mean, it seems like honestly, the producers they know what they're doing.
Well,
it's honestly it strikes me as master manipulators.
Yeah, there's a saying that the devil works hard, but reality TV producers work harder.
Really? That's an actual saying?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
To create that drama. And then so something else they said, which I didn't know this, that they watch a bunch of episodes like the night before the reunion. So they're all like revved up. No wonder everybody's all keyed up to like do battle.
Yeah.
You think like, all right, the season's been over for like weeks or whatever. Months, weeks, but at that point, like everyone had a chance to cool down, you would think. So why is everyone like all fired up? Now that makes sense. It's very similar to what like the Jerry Springer producers would do. Like they would like get the guests like angry and like say whatever it took to kind of get them angry before they let them loose on stage, because it creates like amazing TV.
Yeah, which is just straight up manipulation.
Did I tell you that a casting director reached out to me to be a part of Real Housewives of New York?
Really? But again, you're not married.
I'm living in New York, but like, I took one look at that and ran for the hills. No way. Can you imagine? Jared doesn't even like his picture to be taken.
Yeah. No.
Can you imagine him signing up?
That's one thing. That's one thing I forgot to ask is what did their husband do?
Yeah. I try to stay away as much as they can. I would have to imagine like try to stay out of it as much as possible.
Because what kind of job like allows you if they're working men like to be to be as well on the reality show?
I mean, the profits are amazing though. Like the money that you make from that show is incredible. And yeah, like it elevates your profile. You can kind of do whatever you want. Look at Bethany Frankel. Bethany Frankel, and this is like on booking sheets, like, you know, before we interview her every single time, they always tell us, do not talk about Real Housewives. So she started off Real Housewives of New York. And now she's like built her Be Strong initiative, and it has helped, like, I think she's raised billions of dollars at this point in like relief efforts. So she's so far beyond, so far removed from the Real Housewives franchise that like she doesn't, we're not even allowed to ask her about that. We're not even allowed to say the word housewives.
Yeah. I mean, she's probably also wanting to move on from it and be like, I've done other stuff. Like, right.
Yeah. I mean, look at Teddi and Tamra. They could now they're doing their own podcast. Sure. But who knows where they can take that? I think it'd be smart for them to, you know, try to shop something to Peacock, maybe get their own spinoff there. I would watch them.
Yeah, no, they seemed really cool and also entertaining.
Yeah. All right.
Well, all right. Well, we'll see you guys in about 2 weeks.